there in Philadelphia, there's really nothing to complain about. Why is there nothing to complain about? They're winning. Why are they complaining? They're winning. It doesn't matter how they win. They're getting the W. They should be worried about the playoffs. There's no question. That was one game. And as long as Saquon Barkley is healthy, the offensive game will figure it out. You have a weapon like that, and you can use Saquon Barkley in many different ways. It's going to open up seams. A.J. Brown is not having the season he had last year. He had an all-time great year for an Eagles wide receiver. I mean, how many Eagles wide receivers put up the numbers A.J. Brown put up? I mean, the last one, I would say Terrell Owens, okay? And to me, what A.J. Brown stands for is he's not a guy that's going to go out there and throw people under the bus. That's why I was very surprised that he did this. This is not his style of game. CeeDee Lamb did it in the beginning of the season. I was very surprised CeeDee Lamb did that because he's not that type of player. But again, when you're winning, there shouldn't be anybody throwing anybody under the bus. But you can tell there's a lot of gripe if there's a defensive player like Brandon Graham, who's a leader of a defense that has had problems in the past. As we all know, one of them are playing for the Jets in Hassan Reddick. And there was stuff going on with the offense and the defense when that was going on last year. So again, it's all competition. And I love A.J. Brown. I love everything that he stands for and everything that he has been in the NFL. You want that kind of player. He is a leader. And if you look at what Smith has done over the last 3 years, why do you think he has become one of the best slot wide receivers in football? It's because of A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is getting double teamed most of the time. Now you have a guy like Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts, is he having the season that he had before he got the $230 million? No. And I didn't expect him to do that. But again, all Jalen Hurts has to do is put up W's. If they're putting up W's, it doesn't matter how they do it. It really doesn't. Now, the defense shouldn't be opening their mouths and going and stepping in and trying to protect their quarterback because it should just be an inside source. But here's the reason why this is going on. Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni does not know how to control his players. This has been a big problem. Nick Sirianni had a problem with Hassan Reddick, had a problem with the offensive line last year on some of the things. I know Jason Kelsey has been very quiet this past year on his podcast about Nick Sirianni. And the reason why is he couldn't stand Nick Sirianni. There is a lot of Eagle players that can't stand Nick. The only reason why Nick still has a job is because they made the playoffs last year. And the only reason why he might keep his job is because I believe the addition of Saquon Barkley and the way this defense is played with a new defensive coordinator, they have become an elite defense and the best running team in all of football.
Why I think Kelsey hasn't said anything to Sirianni, because you know what Kelsey did last year? Sirianni's job. And he made sure he kept them together. And where Sirianni didn't have to do that, now you have certain guys with certain egos where you don't have that in the aspect of what they are and what they're doing. And I mean, A.J. Brown came down and was like, our relationship is personal. Duh, all relationships are personal. Like, it's not like we all have a team aspect, but we all have personal relationships with one another on and off the field, right? And some of them carry in a great space, some of them carry in a bad space. But I think why they haven't done anything, and he kind of barked off a little bit on Monday night, talking about the Eagles and whatever. And people have had something to say, but if you as a superstar haven't had an argument with somebody else on your team, like it happens. I mean, I literally had an argument with Mo, and he's one of the greatest to ever do it. Do I give a shit? No, because that's who I am. Don't apologize for it. Who cares? You know what? That's the way you felt, and that's who you are. Don't change who you are and what you are. If that's what you agree with, you didn't even get a target till the second quarter. I'm too good for that. Don't apologize for it. Understand of what it is. Like, and if there needs to be a change in some conceptual or scheme or something that you feel like I can get open in this, like, hey, let's have a one-on-one and let's go talk. And let's figure it out. Like, our end goal is to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're selfish and it's like, I'm after my bag and that's all I want.
The Eagles are a team right now that have a tremendous amount of weapons. They really do. I said it. Goddard has not even been healthy all season long. And when he is on the field, you add one of the more dynamic tight ends. People forget that Dallas Goddard was a first-round draft pick. This guy was a great draft pick. So if you look at Saquon Barkley, this guy was a top 10 pick. Goddard was a top 30 pick. You have A.J. Brown. He was a first-round draft pick. I mean, Smith was a first-round draft pick. You got 4 guys that were first-round draft picks. It's incredible. And your quarterback was a second-round draft pick. So it says a lot about the talent that you have overall of your team. Now, Donovan McNabb, I love Donovan. I love him. And I stand for a lot. Why I root for the Eagles when the Jets don't make it is Donovan McNabb. I followed him at Syracuse. When I met him in Miami, it was fun. It was interesting because he didn't want to speak to anybody. He spoke to me because I was spitting out numbers that he had in Syracuse, and he just turned around and he smirked. He smiled. He couldn't believe that I knew that. Terrell Owens was a personality. He is a personality. Anybody that knows Terrell Owens knows he doesn't shut the F up. He still believes he can play in the NFL, and maybe he could. He can run a 4.5. We've seen him do that. It was a year and a half ago when
he still looks like he can. That's for dang sure.
No question. But nobody would bring him to their team because the guy is a cancer. That's what he is. And what goes on with the Eagles, what has gone on with the Eagles over the last 2 years is something's in that locker room that is not clear. And what I mean by that is, it's like this. When you go to the bathroom, and I'm not trying to be disgusting or anything like that, the first thing you do when you urinate is you see what kind of color it is. Is it yellow? Is it clear? That's what you're looking for. If it's yellow, it means you're not drinking enough water. It means that you need to intake more water. Well, that's the Eagles right now. No matter what they do, they are the yellow urine. And I'm not saying this to attack Eagle fans or the Eagles. This is the problem this team has always had. There is somebody that's that yellow urine in that locker room that no matter how much leadership is there, Jason Kelce last year, there was still fighting going on in that locker room. And even now, trust me, Brandon Graham is a leader. This is his final year. Cox's final year. These guys came back because they want to win another Super Bowl. But the problem is the leadership, and you know this job, but we talk about it, it comes from the top. And when your coach can't control personalities in the locker room, that's where the problem lies. I think right now, no matter what happens with this team, if this team don't go to the Super Bowl, they're better than the Lions. I don't care what anybody says. Say whatever you want. You want to attack me on social media? Go ahead. This team is better than the Lions. From top to bottom, offensive line, pretty much identical. I mean, you could say they're 1-2 or 2-3 right now in the league. Their running games, identical. They got 2, Montgomery and Gibbs. They got Saquon. Who would you rather? Gibbs right now and Montgomery or Saquon? I'm taking Saquon. And if you look at Sam Laporta, he has not had a good year this year. He really hasn't. He's been up and down all season long. Goddard, when he's in, he's really good. He's a good player. And the wide receiving corps besides St. Brown, are you going to tell me Williams is better than Smith? He's not. So I think they have just a better overall team. And whose defense is better? The number one defense in all-purpose yards, stopping the rush, stopping the pass, is who? The Eagles. They're the number one defense. So what wins championships? Running and defense. And who's better at those positions? The Eagles. So I think to me, that's the NFC title game. That's what I want to see. I want to see the 2 top teams face off. But guess what? The one thing the Lions have that the Eagles don't have is leadership from the top. Who do you trust more, Dan Campbell or Nick Sirianni? And the answer, Dan Campbell.